You don't have to wait until 8 p.m. at night to soak your seeds anymore. You can actually submerge your seeds in water at any time of day without having to be there or having to do anything. In this video, you're going to hear exactly how I figured this out, so you can put your seed soaking on an automatic schedule and enjoy never having to think about this task again. For the best microgreens content on the internet, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and ring that bell. That way you get notified when I come out with new microgreens videos on Tuesdays. So when I was first learning how to grow microgreens and first starting my business years ago, I had one delivery day and I was growing a few different crops. I think 2 or 3 of them had to be soaked. And this was fine because I was soaking these seeds. I had to do it maybe like 1 or 2 nights per week. I had to go in there and soak the seeds. Now I was soaking them at 8 p.m. because I wanted to get their ideal soaking period. So if I was trying to go for a soaking period of between 8 and 12 hours, really the latest I could go in there, or the earliest rather, would be 8 p.m. So over time as my business grew, it turned into a 7-day-a-week chore where I would have to go into the farm every single night at 8 p.m. and take care of this responsibility. Now, it's a very easy task, let's be honest. You're just pouring some water into a bucket so the seeds are submerged. But it's not really the task that was the burden or the problem. It was the fact that I had to go into that farm every single night at 8 p.m. so I couldn't finish my day, at 3 or 4 like most people do. I had to wait until 8 p.m. to then finally, all right, responsibilities are done for the day and settle down. So it really wasn't the task itself that was weighing on me. It was really like the mental capacity, the mental load of knowing I have that responsibility and always getting it done every day. So it was a pain point I had. I wanted to get away from that system. I really wanted to figure out how to avoid having to go into the farm every night at 8 p.m. And especially as an entrepreneur, that's the last thing you need is just another thing on your plate, another responsibility to be thinking of. As an entrepreneur, you're already thinking of so many things when you're starting your business and running your business. So I didn't actually go searching for a solution, funny enough. Here's how it happened. I was in the Apple store in the mall, a place that I hate to go, and they had my computer in the back or whatever, and I was just looking at the wall. They always have a wall of cool gadgets and whatever. So I'm looking at this wall, and I see this one package that had this little square controller on it, and I was like, oh my gosh, no freaking way. I can totally use this in my farm to solve this exact problem that I'm talking about. So what this device is it's an automated watering controller. You hook it up to your hose, right? So it's really for like outdoor irrigation. If you had a drip line or some sort of hose that you wanted to turn on every now and then, or for X amount of minutes per day, it was really for like a home garden. But I'm seeing this device and I'm like, I know how to make that work for me and make it so I can automatically soak these seeds and never have to go into the farm again. So here I am in the Apple store. The guy's fixing my laptop, whatever. And I'm just like freaking out. I'm so excited. I figure out this device. I know what this is gonna be able to do for me and my business. And so I leave the Apple store all happy. I'm practically skipping through the parking lot. And I get home, I'm opening up the package, I see what it is. So, I mean, it was amazing. It did exactly what I expected. You just hook it up to a hose nozzle, the same, hose bit, the typical bit where you hook up a hose to. And then there's technology, right? There's an app that you connect to it, and then you can put it on a schedule so it goes off automatically. And that's exactly what I wanted. So I call up my handyman, my plumber, and I get him into the farm. We run a line over where my spigot is to do the watering of the trays when I'm first making trays. So in the germination room, this is. So we run a line over from that spigot, down beneath the sink, up and around, and we get it done, right? So this water line comes up, it's in the right position, we attach the device, and then this is over a sink where I keep my buckets for seed soaking, and I have 3 buckets in there, but there's only 1 spout on this device. So I went to Home Depot and I got, basically it was like you hook it up to a hose line and then it turns 1 into 4 spigots. I only needed 3, but it was the only option they had. They didn't have the 3 one. And then there's individual nozzles on each of these little spigots so you can turn them on and off. and then one I just keep off permanently. And when I first did this, I got these like hoses that I cut that could go down into the bucket, so that way the water wouldn't go everywhere. But the problem that I had at this point was, so when you soak seeds, especially smaller seeds like say wheatgrass, what happens is when you fill that bucket with water and there's this big group of seeds in there, if they don't get like ruffled around much, or if there's not really turbulence, what can happen is the water will flow kind of around them, and there will be these little pockets of air bubbles and little chunks of seeds that'll almost like stick together, and they won't get a thorough germination because they won't actually be submerged in the water. They're like encased in this little air bubble. So my next thought was like, okay, I went back to Home Depot and the hoses weren't gonna work. I needed to figure out a way to add turbulence to the water. That way, all the seeds would be fully submerged and we wouldn't get these little bubbles forming and these little clumps of seeds. So that's what I did, went back to Home Depot, and I just found these really cheap little shower heads, like literally $2 a piece. I'm pretty sure they were like that cheap. And I attached that onto all three of the spigots and just pointed them in the right direction towards the buckets, and it worked. It worked right away. They shot the water right down into the buckets. It was pretty neat. It didn't like splash water everywhere, and it got the job done exactly what I wanted to happen. So instead of the water just flowing into the bucket, it actually just like rained into the bucket. So all that pitter patter on the water in the buckets was actually enough to kind of get the water moving a little bit and prevent the seeds from getting these air bubbles and these air pockets. So it was amazing. I got it done. The system was set up, the device was in place. That was the hard part with the hardware. Then I just went into the software of it, the app on my phone. I set up the schedule based on my needs for what I'm soaking for each day. And it was amazing. I didn't have to go in at nighttime anymore at all. So now I'm able to end my days as early as 10 a.m. at some points, just setting up the seeds, and then it'll go off the next morning. But it's amazing. I can just end my day. There's no more responsibilities for the end of the day. And the best part about this, aside from just setting up the contraption and getting it working and all that, which of course that's amazing, but the best part was really the reduction in the mental load, right? Not having this responsibility that I have to go fulfill every single night at 8 p.m. My girlfriend remembers this too. She was going there with me, and it was just a bummer. This responsibility was now off my plate. And what you'll find, I'm sure this happens with any business, but this definitely happens with my Microgreens business. So business is really just a bunch of systems that you set up, put in place, and then they get things done. And oftentimes businesses need a bunch of different systems. So what I find happens over time is as the systems improve, or you make a tweak or a change in your business model or in the systems that you have, you'll notice, obviously there's a direct impact, maybe financially or in the numbers or other things like just in the schedule throughout the day. But as an entrepreneur and the person running the business, you very much have the mental load and that responsibility of the business on you. Like it's a weight on your shoulders, like quite literally. And when you make changes like this, you can feel this like relief. It's in your lifestyle. So the way that you live your life on a daily basis, it comes with a feeling. And when you change something big in your business and it makes this big change where it'll modify your lifestyle, and your lifestyle on a day-to-day basis is just different, you can feel it without even looking at the nitty-gritty. You can kind of feel the macro effect of what happened. And this by far was the biggest thing that I've done in my business to create that effect. So this is the biggest feeling I had, the biggest change in my lifestyle, and the biggest weight off my shoulders of the responsibility just leaving me. So it was amazing. This contraption is amazing, and I'm just, I want you to feel this exact feeling for your business. So I'm happy to show you right now how to set this thing up and get it going for yourself. So the first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna have to make sure that there's water in your area. So for me, like I mentioned before, that was running a water line with a plumber out of water output and just rerouting it so it was in the correct space. Now, I put all my soaking buckets inside of a large sink, a tub sink, that actually is hooked up to drainage. And I do this because just in case something went wrong or something overflowed, you don't want that to overflow and then go onto the floor. That could be a disaster, especially depending on your farm situation and where you're growing out of. And actually, funny enough, one time this controller did have a slight malfunction, and I got there in the morning and it was just on. And the buckets were all overflowing into the sink, thank God, and it was going down the drain. So with that being said, technology is technology. It can malfunction. I highly recommend you do your seed soaking in a sink, so if something goes wrong, it can drain out of the sink and into the plumbing. And actually the sink that I use has played an intricate role throughout my business. Even in my prior farm, I was using it as just a sink. So I was using that as just like my sink to wash things, wash buckets and that. And then obviously when I moved into my next farm, it became like the seed soaking sink. So I love this sink. I'll put a link to the exact sink that I'm using in the description below. I think I got mine from Home Depot, so you can probably find it there. But the link that I found is actually to Amazon. I found the same one on Amazon. I will mention the sink is a utility sink, so it's actually really low to the ground. The legs on it are really low. So what I do recommend to rise it up, otherwise you're just gonna be breaking your back, is I use just bed risers. There's these things that I guess exist. They're called bed risers. I found them at one point and realized they could work for me. And really they're supposed to go under the four legs of your bed just to bring it up a little bit if you want more storage space underneath. So that's what I use. They're called bed risers. I don't have a link to those, but you can find those anywhere, Amazon, Bed Bath & Beyond, wherever. Find some bed risers. And I actually use those for all my harvesting tables as well to get those a little bit up off the ground. I'm pretty tall, and that'll save your back. So pro tip, use bed risers to raise your stuff higher off the ground and have a better time. All right, so after your plumbing is all set up, you're gonna need the device. That's what attaches next. So the device that I'm using, it's by Eve Home. Eve Home is like the general, I guess, business or brand around these products. They're kind of like a smart home system, but the exact device that I'm using is their device called the Eve Aqua. They have a slew of different devices, but the one that I'm using is called the Eve Aqua. And in Apple, where I found it, it was $100. And I also, at Best Buy, I also found it was $100, but I was looking for a better price. And I actually found it on Amazon for $80. And it is out of stock, it says, at the time I'm shooting this video. What is it? May 8th. But it's $80 on Amazon, and it said it'll be back in stock on May 22nd, 2021. So that's around the corner. That's in a week or two after I post this video. So I'll put the link to that below in the description as well, so you can go right to the device and get it for yourself. It's $80 on Amazon, and will be back in stock very soon. That's about it. The only other hardware you're gonna need is the shower head pieces, as well as that connecting piece that goes from 1 to 4. So I got all that stuff at Home Depot. You can get it from just a hardware store. If you guys could do me a huge favor, please just go into the comments below and let me know if this information is helpful. I'm doing a different style of teaching here on YouTube. With this video and my last video, they're a little bit longer, a little bit more information. So please let me know in the comments. I'm making this video for you. So let me know in the comments if you, one, think this information is useful and you're enjoying this type of content. And two, if you're liking this form of content where it's like a little bit longer and I can talk about it a little bit more fluid and get a little bit more details and information out that way as well. So if you guys could just go into the comments and leave me one, I'd really appreciate it. All right, so after all the hardware is set up, it's time to set up the software. So you're gonna download the app, that's what it's called, Eve for Home Kit, it's this one. All right, so once you have that installed, you're gonna open it up, and then you're actually gonna set up your automated watering schedule. So I actually have my app set up on the phone at the farm. I have a phone at my farm that I keep there with the app installed with a watering schedule. So that way it's always in the farm, it's always there, ready to go. Follow the instructions to set up the app in the first place. You're gonna set up a room, you're gonna connect your device to the room, and then you're gonna go into the device by tapping on it and click the gear icon where it says like schedule. So do schedule on, hit that gear icon, and then just set it up for your own needs as a microgreens farmer and whatever you're soaking on different days of the week. All right, so let me explain how I'm setting up my schedule a little bit. It's slightly confusing, so I hope I can explain this correctly. But for my sunflowers, I only soak them for 4 hours. Whereas my wheatgrass, my barley grass, my peas, I'm soaking those for longer, typically between 8 and 12. I always get into my farm at 9 a.m. So 9 a.m. is like the standing unsoak time. Don't know if unsoak is a word, but I use it all the time, so bear with me if it's not. So if 9 a.m. is my unsoak time and I'm soaking sunflowers for this day, then I'm gonna start my soak at 5 a.m. So that way when I get in at 9, it's been a 4-hour soak and I can drain them. Now, if it's sunflower and another variety that needs a longer soak time, like the peas, the wheatgrass, the barley grass, I do the same soak schedule. So I started at 5 a.m. That way when I get in at 9, I can unsoak the sunflower, because any other way I did it, if I did it earlier, the sunflowers would be soaking for too long, or longer than I really want them to. So I unsoak the sunflower only at 9 a.m. And then for the other varieties, I just wait until like after 12 or 1, so that way they've had a little bit longer time to soak, fully take in that water and get a thorough germination. So I'll just unsoak my sunflowers in the morning. I'll wait a few hours for the other seeds and then I'll unsoak those. So that's how I do it if there's 2 involved. If it's just sunflower, obviously it's just the 5 a.m. one. And then if it's the other varieties that need the longer soak, but no sunflower, then I do it a little after midnight, and that way I get like a 9-hour soak when I come into the farm in the morning. So that's how I do it, and it's really up to you. It's based on your own needs, when you're soaking, what variety, on what days. So just set up your seed soaking schedule to what your needs are in the app, and that's about it. So now you know how to set up an automated seed soaking system for your microgreens business. Awesome, but it's not the only system that people are creating. I actually see a lot of amazing systems created online that are doing different things like automated watering, and people are posting that in the Microgreen support group. So I created this group on Facebook called the Microgreen support group, and really it's just a place for microgreens farmers or aspiring microgreens farmers too, to come in, learn information, and help each other out. So that's one place where if somebody comes up with an awesome new idea or an awesome new system, they often like to go in there and post pictures and brag about it a little bit. So it's like half bragging, but also half helping the community at large. So there's a link to that in the description as well. I highly recommend you join the Microgreen support group on Facebook. It's actually known as the most positive and helpful microgreens group on the internet. So definitely join in there and be a part of the community. If you want to see more videos, there's some videos below. One is about my morning chores, what I do every morning to get the farm up and running. And then my other video is on the supplies and equipment that you need to start your microgreens business and run it. If you like this video, please hit that like button below, subscribe to my channel, and remember, you can share these videos with other people if you think it'll help. So please do that as well. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.